girlfriend like just broke up with him right before the match or something. He's not very happy. That's alright. It's alright. We love you, Jaehoon. Anyway, there's Fantasy, 12-2 this season, very strong record. I think he's second only to Flash in the individual rankings. Somebody might correct me if I'm wrong. Like Bisu and Stats are also very high up there, I know, but I'm pretty sure Fantasy's second. Anyway, actually, they'll probably show it on the screen in a second. He's 100% versus Protoss, 3-0, and Jaehoon is not the strongest Protoss in the world. However, he did defeat Jangbi in a very nice PvP on Wednesday. Looks like he's 8-9, roughly 50%, 1-on-1 versus Terran. And the map, by the way, is going to be Sniper Ridge. Little side note, by the way. For the opening of this video, I got a Scientology ad, which I don't. I didn't know Scientology ads, really? Are those even allowed? I'm not kidding, guys. I got one of those video ads on top of my video for Scientology. I don't know. Anyway, let us see if Jaehoon can even up the score here. As I said, if SKT wins 3-1 or 3-2, they'll be in the playoffs, but their ranking will be in the air. They need the 3-0 to end up first. And I think this is their last match as well, so it's like all comes down to this. Of course, they did end first, I think, last season, during the regular season, only to get taken down in the grand finals by KT. I'm sure they'd like to get some revenge for that. Anyway, Jaehoon will be the orange Protoss here in the top left. Fantasy sorry, did I say Terran? Orange Protoss in the top left. Fantasy the purple Terran at the bottom left. There's Bunky. I wonder where his girlfriend went. Oh, there she is. Look at how well behaved Bunky's being now. Look, instead of his usual behavior of molesting people and doing naughty poses, he's handing out flyers. He's he's being very all reserved and stuff because his girlfriend's there watching him. Oh, Bunky. Oh, you. Bunky is so whipped. Anyway. It's like Depot in the base. Pretty standard. And yeah, looks like I was correct. Fantasy is number 2. Oh, it looks like Stork is actually tied on wins with a few more losses. I believe that was Stork's name. I recognize the Goo, the last character in Sungbyung-gu. 85.7%. So sick. There's the gateway in the main. And the gas. Barracks at the top of the ramp for Fantasy. So looks like we're going to have a fairly calm opening here. Oh, looks like they're showing the breakdown of Fantasy's win record over the rounds. He's 3-1 in round 3, as you can see. This will be his 5th and final game this round. I think that means he's played in every single... Or no, he's played... No, wait. No, each round they would play 7 matches, so he's played 5 out of 7 in all 3 rounds. Some little fun facts for you guys. And there's Jaehoon's breakdown. Looks like he actually did quite well in round 2, going 5-2, but not so hot overall. And Fantasy gets lucky with his SCV Scout, goes straight into Jaehoon's base. I believe Jaehoon has a probe down at the bottom left, but it's kind of hanging around outside so it doesn't get killed by a Marine. Is that correct? I just kind of guessed that from the minimap. I'm not sure. Okay, no, that's actually Marine. I guess that means Jaehoon actually hasn't scouted yet. See, I thought, I was looking at the minimap, I thought that was a probe, but actually Jaehoon just playing blind here. Probably means he's just gonna do one of those kind of safe standard builds like 1-gate expand or maybe a 1-gate obs expand. So he doesn't actually need to scout very early because he's not gonna deviate significantly in his build in any way. But I do see another building going down. Is that a second gateway? It is actually a second gateway. That's unusual in modern PvT. Historically, like a few years ago, two-gating in PvT was quite popular, but that was when pros didn't have like the most amazing control. Nowadays, it's quite rare to see this, especially on a map like Sniper Ridge, which is very standard. You have the narrow ramp going up into your main. You know, the natural is a little bit wide, but it's nothing serious. I mean, I might expect to see this perhaps on a map like Electric Circuit. I think Jaehoon actually 10-15 gated Lida on that map, so I mean that makes a lot more sense. You know, there's no ramp, it's completely flat, it's fairly wide everywhere, so you got plenty of room to micro your goons. But I'm not really sure what Jaehoon's plan is. This will be putting him behind economically unless he can do some damage, but just looking at the situation right now, I can't imagine him doing much more damage than poking that bunker a little bit and forcing some SCVs off the line. And very interestingly, Fantasy actually went for Vulture first here. I think this is a great choice by him. See, he already has the bunker. Actually, I should have pointed this out earlier. That early bunker on the front does usually indicate that the Terran is going for the Vulture first, because obviously that delays their siege tank by a little bit. So they just use the bunker with Marines to defend and do a little bit of a counterattack with this Vulture. He's going in just as the 3 Dragoons are on the other side of the map. Jaehoon will have to wait for the next 2 Dragoons to defend his probe lines. He's going to lose 2 probes now. Is he going to lose a third one? It looks like he will lose a third probe. That Vulture, absolutely worth its weight in minerals here. Is he going to get a 5th? He does get a 5th probe. Fantasy, the terrorist, I mean, this is why he is known for his Vulture. I mean, that he only had 1 Vulture there. He got 5 kills. I mean, he had a nice timing there. It wasn't any kind of, you know, amazing micro, but still, that was super worth it for Fantasy. And Jaehoon has just already put himself in a really rough position. He's getting a robo now. He's got his expansion, but I don't really understand like what the thinking was behind this. What did he? I wonder if this was maybe some kind of attempt to like blind counter Fantasy style or something. Maybe he thought Fantasy would do some kind of like 1-base drop play or something, and he just wanted to put on some early pressure with goons, or I don't really know. Because 2-gate into expand is generally considered suboptimal nowadays. 1-gate expand is the build of choice. Anyway, SCV gonna get out here. Jaehoon doesn't pay attention. Okay, no, now he sees it. I was gonna say, if he lets that SCV get out, that would be quite silly. And he is going to take a very quick third here at the 12 o'clock. That is a extremely standard follow-up to the early 2-gate. You put on a bit of pressure with the Dragoons. You kind of scare the Terran a little bit, kind of not really contained, but you know you have the goons outside the map, so he's got to wait until he's got a decent number of units before he can move out, and you just try and take your third that way. And he's getting an observer now. I'm interested to see the follow-up though. Depending on how he follows this up, this can be risky to certain, like, even a 4-fact can do significant damage to this if Jaehoon gets too greedy and like tries to tech up and add gateways at the same time or something like that. So I'm interested to see what he does. And he is going to follow it up with a Reaver. I think it's a good choice. Reaver going to give him some nice map control. However, Fantasy's actually just moving out here with what looks like 4 tanks and a handful of Marines. I don't think that's enough. There are like 8 Dragoons out. I don't think that's going to work. He is rallying some Vultures up here. He might just try and poke a little bit and maybe pull Jaehoon's Dragoons back towards his base and then run him with Vultures or something. Because you can see his Vultures are actually going around the side, which is quite interesting. I'm really surprised. Okay, it looks like Fantasy actually has sent the main force back. He's just going to use the Vultures to poke out now. Lay a couple of Spider Mines around the map, but not going to commit to anything serious. Probably just to scare Jaehoon a little bit. But doesn't actually manage to do anything. And well, it's going to be down to when that Reaver comes out and how much damage it can do. I am curious though, if this goes to a longer game, where Fantasy is going to take his third. Presumably he will take the 9 o'clock expansion, kind of expanding towards the Protoss, and I think that will be quite nice overall, because you know he'll take that base and kind of use that as a stepping stone and kind of push northwards towards Jaehoon's natural. So I think these spawning locations are definitely nice for Fantasy. But obviously then that will make it a little bit more vulnerable to Reaver drops and whatnot, because the minerals of the third will be kind of facing the Protoss main base. So a little bit of a trade-off there. Anyway, there's the third command center, as we see, or as we saw just now. And Jaehoon, by the way, is not actually closing off that wall there, as you can see. And uh-oh, looks like some vultures running into the natural here. There's a couple of zealots that will be able to block on the ramp. Jaehoon going to lose a few probes here, but I think the damage was minimal. And gotta be careful. Doing a nice little split there with the zealots, and he's going to be just fine here. So that was a nice reaction. But yeah, if you look at the third base, that wall, Jaehoon's got 2 pylons there. He's not completing the wall. However, he did leave a probe there. I think that's a very interesting choice. Basically, you know, obviously it's very easy for him to build the pylon there and finish off the wall, but then that leaves him vulnerable to if Fantasy went for dropships, which is highly likely, given Fantasy's style. Fantasy would be able to drop the third base at the 12 o'clock, and then Jaehoon would actually be walled out of his own base, which would be quite dangerous. He'd have to, you know, kill his own pylon and go out there. And actually, it looks like he's invested in shuttle speed here, but he's going around the long way, so I can continue my point. So actually, leaving that wall unfinished is probably a good idea. That gives his Dragoons a bit more flexibility in going to defend that. And you know, by leaving the probe there, if you know he suddenly sees a bunch of vultures move in, he can instantly throw the pylon down. Although I think just now in that case we saw Fantasy just snipe that guy to prevent that from happening. Anyway, speed shuttle gonna poke in here. But Fantasy's Marines and tanks are in position, so Jaehoon just going to retreat with that. Not going to bother too much. Keeping that Reaver alive is extremely important. It's actually more important to keep the Reaver just alive and threatening, rather than necessarily doing a ton of damage to SCVs or something like that. Just because it gives you kind of the I don't want to say map control, but it's just like a deterrent to the Terran push. Just having that Reaver out, so very, very useful, at least until you can get, you know, a bunch of gateways and get your infrastructure going. And whoa, look at this! Fantasy being very fancy, doing like little vulture splits here, and that Reaver actually took a lot more damage from those vultures than I think it really should have. That would be a juicy, juicy target for the Reaver. Unfortunately, I don't think it's possible with all those units there for the Reaver to get there. It's like both players adding on their infrastructure, factories, and gateways going up on both sides. Jaehoon does have a probe, I think, at the top right natural. He's going to take a fourth there. Of course, since Fantasy already has his third, he will need to expand again. Protoss does usually want to be one base ahead of the Terran at this point. And I think my stream here is a little bit bugged out. I'm just going to refresh this. Anyway, doing a bit of mine clearing. Ooh, got to watch out for those Goliaths. Now, the thing is, I'm a little bit curious that about why Jaehoon invested in the shuttle speed and yet has been playing so timidly with the shuttle. I mean, I did say that it was important to keep the Reaver alive, but you know, on the other hand, shuttle speed is quite expensive. It's 200, and so to invest in not only the Reaver but also in speed and to not do any damage, basically, seems a bit wasteful. Perhaps, I mean, maybe he was just thinking about doing more damage but didn't get the opportunity, I guess. Seems a bit silly to me. It looks like Forge just now going up. That's actually relatively late. I mean, it's not a big deal. But generally you get your Forge around the time your third base gets up. However, in this case, of course, the third was very quick. So I guess delaying that Forge was a good idea. Anyway. It's like Fantasy. It's poking around with his vultures a little bit. Neither player going to commit to a big attack just yet. Although Jaehoon actually has 2 speed shuttles now, making use of his shuttle speed, and is not going to commit once again. Wow, he's being super timid. It's not even passive, it's like he's being really scared. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this could be very bad. Oh man, those mines, gotta be careful. Oh man, they're actually transferring to the top right. I thought they were going to the 12. I was like, oh man, that would have been less bad. So not only does Fantasy get a few kills there, but if he wasn't aware of the top right base, he is definitely aware of it now, having seen those probes transferring there. And oh man, look at this, gonna get even a couple more here. Those are Fantasy vultures, ladies and gentlemen. Super effective. Jaehoon, though, still keeping a nice supply lead. 152 against 115. 120 supply now for Fantasy. Looks like Jaehoon going up to Arbiter Tech now that his 4th base is up. Not quite mining yet. He's going to have to be very careful using these Dragoons to kind of keep the map covered. His Dragoons aren't really moving into position though. There's a lot of open space if you look on the minimap between the top right base there and those goons in the middle. So I don't really understand why Jaehoon's not sending those Dragoons out a little bit more. He's just asking to lose more probes here. It just seems a bit silly. But it looks like instead of defending, he's just going on the offensive here. Gonna go right by this base. No, he's gonna drop the Reaver here. What's in the other shuttle though? Oh man, doesn't even get a shot off. Wow, that was disappointing. Jaehoon. Well, he's gonna get the Reaver here in the natural mineral lines. He gets one big shot off on the SCVs. Gets a second shot off. Is it gonna go off? Is it gonna dud? It looks like it is a dud. A third shot. Gets a Goliath. That's not really the best target there. Jaehoon just wasting his 2 speed shuttles, and he's going on a simultaneous attack. I don't understand. If he was going to do this attack, why didn't he use the speed shuttles to help out and just like crush Fantasy? But it looks like, never mind, it might actually be enough. A few speed zealots are just being idle there, but the rest of the zealots have closed with attacks. It looks like Fantasy might have wasted a few too many vultures with his harassment. However, it is looking quite close here. I think Jaehoon, no, more units, more Protoss units in the back. Jaehoon is busting through here. Fantasy could be in trouble. Fantasy, if he loses, that will end T1's hopes of going straight to the grand finals. Or not really end it, but then it will come down to the results of the rest of the matches between the other teams. Their fate will no longer be in their own hands, so to speak. However, Terran Defense, is it going to be enough? There is Team 8 looking on. C is pointing out how imbalanced Protoss is. Yes, C, we know that Protoss is imbalanced. You do not have to tell us, but similarly, Terran Defense, though, is ridiculously good. Look at this. I mean, Fantasy's been pushed back all the way to his ramp, but he's blocking the ramp with some Vultures and SCVs, and he's got a Siege Tank on the high ground, and Fantasy will hold this. Crucially, Fantasy actually somehow manages to defend. Meanwhile, I don't think the top right is mining. Wait! What just happened? Somehow the top right nexus no longer exists. Fantasy, while all of that was going on, had actually tank dropped the top right there, so Jaehoon has lost his 4th. Fantasy's no longer mining from his 3rd, but I actually don't know who's ahead right now. Jaehoon at 97 supply against the 79 of Fantasy. This is ridiculous. Jaehoon, I thought Jaehoon would just win outright there, but now I'm actually not so sure. It looks like the tank's now going into the 12 o'clock base. There is a cannon. There's a couple of zealots there. It's unlikely these tanks are going to do any damage. Yeah, it looks like Fantasy just going to pull that guy back. Meanwhile, Jaehoon had actually sent a few zealots in here to the 9 o'clock, and they're actually just going to get sacrificed here for no reason. I'm a little bit surprised that he divided his army. Oh no, it looks like Fantasy finds a good position after all, but a good reaction time from Jaehoon, and he's going to save most of his probes here. But whoa, barely saving that siege tank. Wow, nice moves by both players. Unless Jaehoon suicides some goons here, that would be bad. But actually, you know what? I think Fantasy, now that he's reclaimed his 3rd base, is definitely in a good position. Looks like, yeah, Arbiter out, but so is the Science Vessel. And Jaehoon is just now going to reclaim his 4th base. Looks like Jaehoon wants to do some damage here. Does he have another Reaver? He's trying to find a good position, but decides not to do it. Once again, just being super scaredy with this, presumably Reaver. Oh, looks like he didn't actually have another unit in the shuttle, so he couldn't drop it. Okay, so he's going to load up 2 Zealots and probably going to go for it now, but there is a Goliath there. Is he just going to bomb the tank? Looks like he is just going to bomb that red health tank. A nice little move there, suiciding the Reaver for that. The Goliath takes on the shuttle. The SCVs are not being pulled here. This could be huge. Are we going to see another Scarab shot? It looks like, yes, something like 5 kills there. Yeah, 5 kills on the Reaver, 6 kills on that Reaver. And the SCVs are actually going back here. He's got to be so careful. That Reaver really wants to hit those clumped SCVs, but Fantasy does pull it back in time. So the Reaver goes down, I think, with 5 or 6 SCV kills and a Vulture kill there. And, oh, hello, Spider Mines. That probe is actually sitting in the middle of a minefield. Doesn't seem to be the safest base to just hang out. Safest base, safest place. Safest place to hang out. But anyway, it looks like a random vessel here looking for an Arbiter to EMP. That's quite cute. This is actually why I advocate getting Dark Archons in late game PvT. Or I guess Dark Archons singular. I don't think you should get more than one. But when like Terran does stuff like this where they just run out with a science vessel, like the reason Terran doesn't do that in TVZ, well they do, but the reason it's risky to do that in TVZ obviously is because you lose your vessel to Scourge. So I think getting like a Dark Archon as a deterrent with feedback would would be quite interesting. Ooh, looks like Fantasy gonna catch a bunch more probes here. Oh, it's gonna be horrible. Oh no, oh, the poor probes. Oh my goodness. Those cute mechanical kittens being slaughtered there. Oh my god. Jaehoon. Jaehoon. Jaehoon must be a dog person. Clearly not a fan of mechanical kittens. Anyway. Man, my stream page is still bugging out for me. I don't know what's going on here. Whoa! Wow, I thought all those goons would have died, actually. I don't know if that was luck for Jaehoon or what just happened there. I could have sworn. I mean, those Druids should all actually be dead right now. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, 2-1's actually finished now for Fantasy, by the way. The last time I saw a Protoss unit, it was 1-0. Yeah, still 1-0 for Jaehoon. He's actually got a lot of zealots, but the EMP goes off on the Arbiter. The Arbiter just chilling, you know, minding his own business, sitting at the Protoss Natural, not harming anybody. And this evil science vessel just comes along and just randomly EMPs it. I mean, what the heck, man? What the heck? It's like the kid that throws water balloons out of his window. You know? It's like, you know, you're just some random guy minding your own business, walking down the street, and you just randomly get hit by a water balloon. That actually happened in real life. Not to me, but I was actually walking down the street. It was actually, I think, in my second year of college. And there was a guy walking, like, I want to say like 15 feet in front of me. It was actually like a really big, kind of busy public road, but there was like a row of houses on the side, and just out of nowhere, this guy just gets hit in the back of the head by a water balloon. And I didn't realize it was a water balloon at first. It was just all of a sudden, he just like gets hit in the back of the head. He kind of like staggers forward, and like his back is drenched. I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? and then I look to the side at one of the houses, and there's like this little kid poking his head out the window, like with a grin on his face. And like when he sees me look up, he quickly hides under the window as if I wouldn't realize he was there. Ah, kids these days. Anyway, I thought it was quite funny, and I was really glad it wasn't me. Thank God there's another poor sucker out to be a target. Anyway, Fantasy's pushing across the middle of the map here, and he did EMP one of the Arbiters. Looks like the other one's still fine. This is a little bit of a tricky place to engage for Jaehoon. Not really easy to flank, as you can see. Fantasy's laid a lot of spider mines, I think, on the southern ridge there to prevent like a counterattack. And yeah, this is just a really nice position here. So many siege tanks, actually. This is going to be really hard for Jaehoon. He does have a lot of zealots, but it looks like he's trying to hold back until the absolute last second. He's not quite maxed out. He's at 190 supply. Just wants that extra couple of units to help out here. Maybe tempt Fantasy to move a little bit out of position, but I don't know. This is going to be really tough here. This battle actually might just determine the winner of the game. Jaehoon trying to find a good position, but you know, the longer he waits, you know, he's just bleeding units at this point, just losing free dragoons here. He's going to have to commit eventually. And here we go. Half the army. No, is he going in? I can't tell. Half the army's moving in. The other half of the army is moving down the right side of the map. I don't understand. I think he's going actually for the counterattack now. I really don't know what Jaehoon is thinking. Jaehoon, he's got to commit one way or the other. The push is getting up to his natural. Like, if he's going to go, he has to go now. Jaehoon is trying to find a better time, but I don't think there's going to be a better time. I think this is it. It's do or die now. He's going to get some storms off here. He's got a bunch of Templar in the shuttle, but the storms are not really effective, and now the rest of the army is coming in, but Jaehoon's already lost like 30-something supply of units, and now the rest of the army is coming in. It's just going to walk into a tank line here. Jaehoon might actually end up losing his entire army without attacking. Like, this is getting really silly. Okay, now he's going to go in. Oh my god, huge stasis. That is what we were waiting for here. And Jaehoon has decided the time is now. With those stasis, I think he might do it. Zealots moving in here. Fantasy did not have all the mines and vultures in position this time, and actually it looks like Jaehoon making the correct decision here, pulling Fantasy a little bit too far forward, getting his perfect stasis off. And, well, a few more siege tanks coming in here, but in this low-level battle, the Protoss army will definitely be more effective. And those two stasis, I can't believe it, absolutely just turned the title of battle there. He's even going to get a few siege tanks. And he's, you know, while all this was happening, he was taking the top right main base as his 5th base. He was getting a bunch of gateways up there. And Fantasy, you can see on his face, realizes that actually he might be in a bit of trouble. But actually, look at this! All the siege tanks coming out of stasis and just murdering the rest of the Protoss army that was there. Defense matrix going down. That was probably actually cast before the stasis went off. If a vessel is like has a spell on command and it gets stasis, it'll actually just do that right after it comes out. And look at this, 2 more stasis actually coming out for Jaehoon, but that's all he's really got. He's got no ground units to back this up. All he's got is stasis, and actually, wow, Fantasy showing us some really nice macro here, coming up with a lot of reinforcements. Fantasy actually is the supply lead now, 100 supply to the 95 supply of Jaehoon. Even though Jaehoon took that fight, somehow Fantasy is coming out ahead here. This is actually somewhat baffling to me. However, Fantasy is getting mined out. He's going to be down to only his 3rd base in a second here. The shuttle goes down. I hope there was nothing in that for Jaehoon. But this is getting really, really intense here. And, you know, even though the stasis are amazing, he doesn't have the forces to actually finish off the units that come out of stasis, so it's just like buying him time, but not actually providing a long-term solution to the problem of siege tanks, I suppose. Anyway, looks like he's going to retreat from his natural. He's actually mined it out, so I don't think he minds that too much. However, what that does mean is he's kind of contained into his main base, which has all his gateways. He's got 5 gateways at the top right, not a great deal. And actually, it looks like Fantasy has lifted his main command center over to the 6 o'clock. Doesn't even have enough money to afford to actually make a command center there. So, you know, even though Fantasy looks like he's in a good position right now, it's still quite tense, I think. If Jaehoon might decide to go for a counterattack and at least deny that 4th base, and, you know, Fantasy, if he mines out that 9 o'clock, he could actually be the one in trouble here. Even if Jaehoon does lose most of his main base, he still has the top right, and he has the 2 expansions mining the 2 top right bases, so I don't think Jaehoon's completely out, but he's definitely in a rough spot here. He's gonna have to make some excellent decisions. And it looks like, although actually he didn't realize Fantasy had pulled his entire army back to attack the top right here. He's still got a bunch of units in his main base when they should actually be out on the map helping him. Oh man, looks like a counterattack, a Zealot drop in the 9 o'clock base, but Fantasy has so many units, he's crushing these units at the top right, but he's just using the SCVs to fight. I don't know why he doesn't send a couple of Vultures here. Vultures pretty good against Zealots, and there we go, finally sending a few Vultures, but a single Zealot at the 6 o'clock as well. Jaehoon doing a good job harassing these bases, but now the main Terran force is coming up to kill his top right bases, and I don't know how he's going to defend this. Looks like clearing some spider mines with these Zealots. Is he actually just going to kill all those SCVs? Oh my god, look at this single Zealot! What, does Fantasy not notice? How does Fantasy not notice this? That Zealot's going to kill every single SCV here. I hope Jaehoon actually right-clicks the SCVs. No, he is not going to. But look at this, a Zealot and a DT going to finish off the SCVs at the 9 o'clock. Fantasy is mining now with like 3 SCVs. He's down to 75 supply here. Jaehoon might actually just win with Zealot counterattacking. This is so close. I can't believe it. But Fantasy's army is so strong right now. This is just ridiculous. Jaehoon, he's got no way to stop the army. That's the crucial thing. He's got 4 Dragoons and an Arbiter against a monstrous Terran force here. Even if Fantasy had 0 SCVs left, I don't know what Jaehoon could do. Look, he's literally got 3 SCVs. He has literally 3 SCVs remaining. But now Jaehoon's going to lose everything at the top right. That is his last mining base. He is mining from it quite a bit, but oh man, he's got a shuttle there. I mean, there's some Goliaths. He can't even attempt Zealot bombs. He's going to lose a Zealot here. It's not necessary. It looks like he's going to just go for a counterattack once again. But, I mean, you know, even if he does like a base race, he can't fight the army. Like, I don't think he can win. I think the only way he could win is if like Fantasy had actually lifted all his command centers, so he had no comsats left, and then somehow suicided all his vessels or something. Like this just seems impossible. I don't really know what's gonna happen here. But oh no! What? Jaehoon! Oh my god! And you guys say my Reaver micro is bad. So that's definitely not going to be good. However, I mean, okay, so he's gonna stop the 6 o'clock. He might actually kill it. So Fantasy is not mining minerals right now. I think he has a couple of minerals on his main, but it's essentially nothing. And Jaehoon is not mining minerals either. So yeah, you can actually look at the bottom right. Neither player's income is going up, but Fantasy has 10 more supply and a much scarier army. And if he gets that EMP off, that's going to be so sick. I actually don't know if he got that one off, because the Goliath or the Arbiter was taking some damage there, but I don't know. Looks like here we go. This could be the final engagement. A good EMP goes off. A defense matrix on the Vultures. I think at this point you could just defense matrix one of the Protoss units. Just for lulz. This is over. Jaehoon I thought he had it, man. He was going for the break against Fantasy. I thought that would be it, but somehow, and by somehow I mean being a Terran, Fantasy was not so easy to kill. So Jaehoon's gonna try and win with 1 Dragoon and 1 Arbiter. That's not so good. Oh, looks like he's got a couple more units here. Fantasy actually floated a command center to the center expansion. That's pretty lolzy. He might actually kill that too. Oh! D-Matrix. It's gonna die though. It's gonna buy some time. It's gonna save the command center. And Jaehoon is down to 36 supply against 55. Both players really low supply still. But, yeah, Jaehoon is pretty dead. I don't know what he hopes to do with a single shuttle. Oh, he's gonna... Oh, he's actually gonna snipe the comsats. This is actually not a bad idea. Or at least it wouldn't be a bad idea, except that there's still 2 science vessels on the field, so it's not like that actually does anything. And wow, barely saved that shuttle. That would have been horrendous if he lost it. But yeah, I mean, there's 2 science vessels left, and he's just gonna suicide his DT on spider mines. Yeah, good job, Jaehoon. That was a good idea. GG. What? Wait. What? Why do you think? Hold on. Can anybody explain to me why he dropped that DT at the end and walked it into mines? Like, his shuttle wasn't under attack. He was flying back into his base, and he's just like, well, let me just drop this thing here and let it walk home. Oh, that's... I mean, obviously he'd lost already at that point. Like, it was an insignificant event, and yet it baffles me nonetheless. Alright, so SKT going up 2-0 over Team 8. They are looking good to take the 3-0. But we still have Jaedong, we still have Baby left, so yeah, man, that would be exciting. Oh man, we might actually see Bisu versus Jaedong next. That would be so sick. Oh man, I hope we can see that. That would be so awesome. Now, by the way, guys, is everything okay with the stream? Because like it says, it shows me that the stream is offline, but that doesn't really make any sense. Like, here, let me actually open the VOD first, and then I can show you guys. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on. Whoa, getting an ad. Sorry. Alright, so the VOD is loaded up, but can you look? Alright, so this is my dashboard, and it says offline. And even when I refresh it, it still says offline.